So now we are going to make Italian meringue buttercream using the eggless version. So I have the brine here, which is the substitute for the egg whites from the original Italian meringue. Now this is the brine from the canned chickpea. I prefer using that because that liquid in that canned chickpea has the right amount of fat, so it could whip up like the egg whites. And if you're going to make it at home, then we need to follow certain process. So we have a thickened brine, but to have the results right, I prefer using the canned chickpea. So we have the brine here, and then that's vanilla, then the water and the sugar. So we are going to make the sugar syrup and take it to a consistency of having soft balls, which I'm going to show. And then that is butter, and we want the butter not too cold and not soft in the room temperature. We just want to take it out of the fridge, say 15 minutes before we are ready at this stage, and then we are ready to proceed. Now I am going to have sugar syrup, so butter is going to be added at the end. Now brine is going to keep whipping in the stand mixer, and I am going to have sugar syrup happening parallelly in the stove. So if you have to make it, like if you have to use your hand beater and do, then beat the brine to stiff peaks, and parallelly have the sugar and the water in a saucepan in the stove nearby, and allow it to take the heat and let the sugar dissolve. Now once you have the brine taking it to stiff peaks, and then increase the flame of the sugar syrup and keep checking for the soft peaks, the soft ball stage, not soft peaks, soft ball stage. And then you will follow the procedure of pouring the sugar syrup into the frothy, foamy, stiff brine. Okay, so to have this both happening parallelly, I am going to get the stove also into the frame, and the stand mixer also into the frame. I am going to attach my whisk and get the bowl on. I am going to pour the brine in. And in the meantime, get the saucepan, add the water and the sugar, just going to switch on the stove and run the beater as well parallelly, and I'm going to increase the speed looking at how much time the sugar syrup is going to take for the soft peaks. Now I am increasing the speed of the aqua faba beating. I am mixing the sugar syrup. I am also having the bowl of water here. I am going to show. I am just reducing the speed because checking the sugar syrup parallelly, I am giving time for the sugar to dissolve well, while you can see the brine is also foaming up. I just want to show how the brine foams up, so it's important to know what will happen. Okay, so that's how it is going to be to begin with. I'm going to continue beating the brine. Okay, so now the sugar syrup is boiling. I'm going to check the temperature. 116. So we need to reach 117 degree Celsius. Okay. Now, if you do not have a thermometer, or the other way of doing it is reducing the flame, and I'm going to take a few drops of the sugar syrup, add this in the bowl of room temperature water. Okay, and I'm going to pick up the sugar syrup drop, and this should be in soft ball stage. Soft ball is, this ball is not going to stick to my hand, okay, fingers, and I'll be able to press it and change the shape, and I can bring it back together and make a ball. So holding the shape like that and not sticky, but the shape would change. So this is the soft ball that we are looking at. We already have this, and I'm going to switch this off, remove the sugar syrup from the stove, and I'm going to get the stand mixer in. I'm going to increase the speed because I need to pour the sugar syrup. So let me show you how it looks. So it is soft now, but you can see it is white and foamy. I'm going to keep beating and pour the sugar syrup as the beater is running. So you can see it is quite in the soft peaks now. So the brine whips up at this stage. So you can see this one is soft peaks, and I'm going to beat this furthermore. So you can see the peaks formation. Okay, so this is stiff right now, and that's the good time to add the sugar syrup. Now you need to time so that you have the brine at this stage, have the sugar syrup done, and I'm going to keep the beater running and pour the sugar syrup in. Now as it is beating, I am going to add the vanilla. Just want to show a stage where the sugar syrup is blending in with the brine. You can see, okay, but then we just want the whole thing to cool down completely because it is going to be hot, and you've added in very really hot sugar syrup in. Now this needs to become thick and stiff as well. It needs to come down to room temperature. You put your finger in to check if it has come down to room temperature, and that's when you know you can add the butter, because when it is hot you can even touch the bottom of the bowl. If you're using a stainless steel bowl, then the check that you need to do for yourself is to touch the bottom of the stainless steel bowl, and then it needs to be in complete room temperature. Otherwise, while it's still warm, if you're going to add the butter, then the butter is going to melt. That heat will melt the butter. We want this cream to become stiff, for which keep beating until the bottom of the bowl comes down to complete room temperature. So now it is getting shinier. Now I'm just going to fold in and then check the temperature. Now if you have a ray gun like this, you can check 32 is room temperature. So which means the bottom is gotten to complete room temperature, and now also I know that this peaks have formed, okay, and soft peak is fine. You don't want to overbeat and then get it dry. The glossiness is important. And now keeping this bowl running, you will have to add the butter cube by cube, okay, and if you're going to use your handheld beater, then you need to add 1 cube, beat, incorporate, and add the next cube, incorporate. So like which you will be adding cube after cube if you're using a handheld beater, okay. Now, after adding the cubes one by one, the first stage what we are going to see is this whole thing is going to become liquid again, and it will look like it is becoming soupy, but do not worry if that stage is going to be there, like this meringue was stiff and then the butter is stiff and why did it turn liquidy. So, okay, don't have that panic. Continue beating. When you see that butter getting incorporated, the butter will first soften up and there will be a soft soupy stage. Do not panic, continue ahead, beat on high speed until you have the buttercream come together into stiff peaks. That's what we are going to see now. We just want to check at the stage to show after the addition of the butter. You can see it is quite nice and stiff. I'm going to scrape down once so everything mixes up, and you can see little bit of butter is left. I mean the smaller chunks. Now I'm going to scrape down, put it back, and then run the beater again on medium high speed for about a minute to check back if the consistency is beautiful, nice, light and stiff buttercream. Then we are just going to end there, and if in case if it's just going to liquidize, and then I'm going to show you what we could do to revive buttercream that becomes soupy in the way of making. Okay, so now this looks beautiful, silky. Let me check once before I remove the beater. So you can see it's so smooth, silky and then stiff. You can see how the brine just had the sugar syrup incorporated, and then butter is just nicely gone in. Look at the volume and how silky smooth it is. I'm just going to get the beater blade out. So here we have the beautiful vanilla eggless meringue buttercream, Italian meringue buttercream made, and this one is just the last step before you have your cake layering step ahead. So now I have everything else ready, and that is the time when I have to prepare the Italian meringue buttercream, and I have to just start using it on the cake. Either shift this to transfer this to into a piping bag, and so you could just pipe around even in case of filling or frosting on the outside, or just straight away use from this bowl if you're going to just layer the cakes as it is using a spatula. So do not make this ahead of time and refrigerate it, because it is going to harden up as there is butter. Now we have made it to the exact right consistency, which is spreadable, and so you could frost it also. Now if you're going to make it ahead of time and then refrigerate it, it is going to harden up. Now to get this back into its consistency, you need to allow it to thaw, and then if you do not have the time, then maybe you could microwave part of it and then beat it again, and then maybe it could get soupy. And so there are a lot of other difficulties if you're going to store this and then revive. But if you have leftover after having frosted the cakes or the cupcakes, then you could put it in the fridge and then take it out, and then you could revive to use it for something else. But if you have to make this for a specific cake, then make this as the last thing, and after which you will have to move on to layering your cake. So we have this beautiful eggless Italian meringue buttercream, and then we'll see in another lesson how we are going to use this. Now I'm going to show you a trick in which you can make the Imbc and take it to another better level, a richer level. So your buttercream is just going to be very unique than any other buttercream that anybody else would make. So there are certain tricks like this which will make the Fondbites students cake and the work be very unique. So you want your clients coming back to you asking for more, because this is going to be very unique, right? There is this Imbc recipe, and there is Imbc recipe everywhere, and once the trick has been cracked, then everybody's Imbc is going to taste or look and feel the same. Now what are we going to do to take and make our work a little unique? So for me the trick is to add pastry cream, like how it's been added into the whipped cream to make cream diplomat, and so the whole thing becomes richer because there's yolk in it or the custard powder, and there is milk in it, and this extra addition of the milk, custard powder or the yolk into the buttercream gives another level of taste to the buttercream, and that is what we are going to do. So we've made the pastry cream ahead of time, and then the Imbc is just made now. Now this pastry cream would be having lumps. So I'm going to use a beater and then beat this whole thing, make it lump free, after which I'm going to add this into the buttercream and then fold it. So we don't want to beat back again because the consistency could have a mismatch. So if you're going to fold two different things which are of different temperatures and consistencies, do not put them together and beat at a stretch, or they could form lumps and then it is just going to be not as great as it should be. So now I'm going to use the beater. Okay. So now I'm just going to soften up the buttercream once. I'm just going to add the pastry cream in. Now I'm just going to fold and combine. So now we have this magical buttercream, Italian meringue buttercream. This you could do to any buttercream that you make. Even if you're going to add any flavors and then get the buttercream flavored. Now say for example, if you have to make strawberry flavored buttercream, then how you make the strawberry mousse is the cream diplomat, which has the whipping cream, pastry cream and the strawberry compote. Now if you have to flavor this buttercream into strawberry, then we have the buttercream and pastry cream, and that we have here. Into this, if you are going to add the strawberry compote and then fold it, then we have a strawberry flavored buttercream. Similarly, you could flavor this with anything, like add the ganache or melted chocolate, and then you have chocolate buttercream, and then you add in your caramel sauce, and then you have your caramel buttercream, and then you could also add an instant coffee powder to it and then make it coffee buttercream. And if you want to make it like Oreo or any of the the candies, like the biscuits, like maybe say the Twix or the Ferrero Rocher types, that you could just grind and then mix it into this, or you could add Nutella and then mix it. And then if you want a peanut butter buttercream, then add the peanut butter into this and mix. So this will be the base for anything that you need to flavor and then create your cake using buttercream. Then you make your buttercream and then add pastry cream in it, and then add your any other flavoring into it, and so you create flavors using the buttercream itself. Now we are going to use this plain buttercream, which is this magical thing that's gone inside and elevated the flavor to another higher level.